Okay. Hi, everybody. This is The Real Romi, and I am Romi. I am here this morning chatting with Luke Barrow. He is multitasking, dad, trainer, fitness, podcaster, all the things, Luke. I understand a busy morning, so I can completely relate. And it's really early there in LA for you, right?
Yeah, it's early, but I hit the ground running. When I get up, I'm moving. I'm doing something. It's hard for me to sit still. Even if I wasn't, I'd be moving. So it's like I just got to get my body going and right away moving. But it's a hectic season for me. Summer is ending, everything happening right now. But it's a good stuff. All good stuff.
I relate to that. I was up at 5. I did my 5 a.m. run.
I think I saw
Um,
that. I just checked out your page. I was like,
it,
yeah, she's getting it.
I got it this morning. I got my meditation in, I got my scripture in, I did all the things to get on
Love
this before I hit the road. So I'm with
it.
you.
Amazing. Love that.
All right. So Luke, I'm gonna have you kind of introduce yourself, but you and I got to know each other a little bit, or we're starting to get to know each other a little bit through social media, through our same kind of passions with fitness and I
Mhm.
assume like parenthood, both of us hosting podcasts and kind of wanting to share the message of things that help us that then we can offer to other people. That's what I've taken from it. But
Yeah.
tell me what it is that you do.
Well, yeah, like you said, my main source of income, my primary is private trainer. Been a private trainer for over a decade now. So in the fitness and health space. Um, Through that, I've kind of branched off and done a multitude of different things. It's kind of like serial entrepreneurship, if you will.
Mhm.
Anyway, California's California, so you got to find many ways to make money.
Yes.
If you're doing one thing, you're just kind of dead in the water, I think. But so from that, like I said, obviously Instagram is a amazing tool that I think a lot of people don't utilize. Um, and it's just I've done a lot. I mean, I've done man, I used to model. I used to act. Typical LA stuff I did
Yeah,
before
same.
before I was training. I got the whole like typical LA feel first, and then I fell into training. But I always played sports. Had a sports background. From that's where I kind of fell into personal training
Yeah.
and the love for like fitness side of things and the body and all that. So after college, I was like, all right, what do I do now? So it was training for me. Um, and I just got kind of lucky. I had an older brother out here at the time. I'm from Illinois originally, so small farm town over there. I came out immediately after high school. I was 17, and I literally graduated and I moved out the very next day. I was like, see ya, just packed everything, but bye. So I was set. I knew what I wanted, and that's just kind of always been my personality, right? Like I don't have a plan B. I kind of operate that way, like back against the wall, like figure it
Same.
out, just
Same.
get it done. So for me, it was like, all right, moving to LA, fell on my ass a lot. Can I say ass? Can I ever give it
Yeah.
that?
Oh, yeah. 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 We
Yeah,
can guys.
fell on my ass a lot, obviously as expected, and then, but for me, that's growth, right? Like I wanted that. Like I knew I was going to fail many times before I got the hang of it, and then eventually just kind of caught on. But that's just like I said, that's how I operate. Put myself in the right environments out here with the training. My brother was also training at the time, and he was um, right next to a celebrity trainer and someone who was like really big in it, training like Halle Berry and all that. So like I was around that. So that's kind of how I fell into doing that. Um,
And
and
you are training celebrities as well, and you come to
yeah,
people's homes, you do personalized training. I know you just come to people with your equipment, which I love. I love that you brought up like doing 1,000 things. I read something recently about like millionaires and they have like 7 jobs. Like don't be like they have
yeah,
many things that they're doing to be that type of success. And it's a
yeah,
reassurance to those of us that are hustling so many different things, right?
yeah,
Um,
for sure.
and that you fell into this. You also have created a podcast recently, right, for the fit mind. I think
Yeah.
I'm most interested in, and I heard you speak a little bit as a clip on your Instagram page. Like, why is it so important then for people to have a fit mind with a fit body?
Yeah. I mean, I don't know. I'm not old, but as I get older, I've just realized the importance of having a strong mind. Like life, obviously, as cliche as it is, like life comes at you, and you know, depending on your situation, of course, everything's different. But I've been through the ringer with like just child custody stuff, and just you name it. Honestly, just daily battles of life. But I think as men, more so, obviously, there's that stigma, like don't talk about it, push it down,
Hmm.
what have you. But for me, it's like a lot of people were coming to me, a lot of men,
Hmm.
and they were just saying like, "Hey, your page, like you inspire me here. Like So I started to get enough of that feedback where I was like, okay, like I need to start bring this, to the surface and start a podcast. And I have a lot to say on the subject, like
Yeah.
I have a lot to say when it comes to like the mental. And I'm just one of those guys, like I said, where I'm always looking for the next challenge. Like I always got to be doing something, and I always want to push the limits, like mentally, more so than physically. I'm just like fascinated with the mind and how it works. It all starts
Same,
there. It all starts in
same.
the mind. So I'm like, my mentality is just kind of that around my challenges and what I do. I'm like, I never want to be normal. First of all, I always want to be doing other things that people aren't doing. So that's where my like competitive spirit comes out. But just again, that fascination with mine. I'm like, what can I do now to push the limits? Oh, okay, now it's gonna be 50 miles. Like I'm gonna run 50 miles in a day because I hate it. Like it's that
Yeah.
I hate running. So for
That's
me,
that David Goggins right there,
yeah,
Luke. That's that
yeah,
David Goggins mentality.
right. So I hate running. So that's what it is for me. So I'm like, that's what I hate. Like that's what I'm gonna do. Get uncomfortable, like severely uncomfortable, and then when you get through something like that, you take the one thing you absolutely hate, start doing it every day. Like there's no way you don't grow. Like there's just absolutely no way for there not to be growth. So once you start to see that too, it becomes contagious. Like everything else starts firing on all cylinders, like business, relationships, friendships, whatever it is, fatherhood, motherhood. Like you're just a better person because you're training that mind. You're callousing that,
Yes.
like Goggins, right? Callousing that
Yeah.
mind. So it's for me, I'm fascinated with the mental, and it's never going to not be the case. It's like you got to build a strong mind first, and everything else follows. So your body follows from there. It's like the 50 miles. Even then, it's like, well, how do you blah blah blah? It's like after about 26, after after you hit it like a marathon, it sucks. Like your body's like, stop, like the human body's not designed to run, 50 miles in a day. It's just not. It's
Yeah.
just, it's going to tell you to stop doing it right away. But that's where your mind kicks in and says like, no, like no plan B, like you have to train your mind to just, we're going to endure the suffering. Like we're just going no matter what. So I'm fascinating with that side of things.
In my coaching, I talk mainly about because I've started to like dabble into like more the nutrition and the fitness because people see what I'm doing, right? Or they're
yeah.
inspired by like my lifestyle and what you're saying. Like one of the biggest things I tell people when we're in our sessions is like it all starts with your mind. Like I
Yeah.
love that you're saying it all starts like in order to get up early and train yourself and push yourself, that's all mind work. So no, like that's all mental before it's physical, right?
Yeah.
And that's your relationship with yourself
Mhm.
before it's the relationship like with your body. It does start there. So I love that you are putting this out there. I want to touch on the fact that you said with men, because are you specifically passionate? Do you feel your purpose is to work with men?
I mean, for me, I want to inspire any and everybody. Like if I can help
Yeah.
somebody, I'll help them. Right? It's like
Yeah.
that's the goal. So with training around anything, it's like for me, even my training, it's to like help my clients create different lifestyle habits and patterns, like become different people. Like long after I'm gone, I want you to take all these things I'm teaching you and like just become a better person in business, like everywhere. Like
Mhm.
I'm trying to show you like different ways to live and like do these healthy things now. These small details that seem small, but like when you do them over time, they make a huge difference, like in your life. So for me, it's like it's just as a whole, if I can change somebody's life, like I'm gonna do it. Like that's what I'm passionate about, and again through that, it's just I'm doing it anyway. So it's like I might as well be helping people in the process. That's where the podcast comes, and that's the
I
whole goal.
say,
It's like I don't need a podcast with millions of followers. Like I don't care. It's just the thing for me is like I'm doing it anyway.
yep.
I've had enough people reach out, tell me, and like I said, I'm passionate about talking about it and on the topic, but it's not specific to men. I'd say another. Um, it's just as I'm getting more into it, I think there's a lot more men that don't like talk. Don't talk about that. So like
Yeah.
created like a group of men. It's called Comfortable Kills. It's a group that out here where I get together with all these guys, and whoever wants to be in it is going to be in it. But it's like I create challenges every month, like hard challenges that like really push us, right? Like it's like similar to that, like 50 miles in a day, like not to that extent because there's different fitness levels obviously, but same concept where I'm like I want everybody in this group to be severely uncomfortable. Like that's not up for discussion. Like here's what we're doing, and if you can't do it, that's okay. But like you're
Can
gonna
people
try.
join in on that that aren't there in LA, or is this a meetup thing, physical, like an actual meetup thing?
It's been a meetup thing, challenge wise, obviously.
Uh-huh.
Like I'm taking these guys to like do a 5 a.m. cold plunge in the ocean, and then we're going like and doing a beach workout, and then we're like running 4 miles. Like you know what I mean? It's just
Yeah.
I'm always doing something different to like push. push these guys. But and I create the challenges, just whatever I
Yeah.
feel, that month or whatever. But um, I know I've actually had a lot of people ask me that about that group, and I don't know, maybe I'll find a way to do both somehow. But
Yeah.
because I would like to hit obviously a wider, audience and help more people in that sense. But that's kind of where the hopes of the Fit Minds podcast comes through. But we'll see. I mean, I'm always thinking of something to branch off and try to get more people involved, and want to hit a wider audience. But yeah, that's specific out here that I just created. I'm like, might as well be doing something, with a group of guys who need that, who look forward to that, and
Have
they
you
get it.
have you always been this entrepreneur? Have you always been this person who's just putting yourself out there and going for it? Or what shifted?
Yeah, that's a good question. I don't even know if I do. I even know the answer to that. When people always ask, like, have you always been this way? It's hard for me to put a finger on it. Like, I don't know. I know that for sports, I was like super disciplined. I've always been self motivated and super disciplined. Like I played basketball my whole life. Like I said, it's tiny, small farm town. I wasn't going to get discovered. It's like hard to get discovered over there for that reason. But I didn't care. Like my whole thing was just put your head down, work. Like no one had to tell me to work. Like I was the kid who was getting 200 shots up every weekend. Like calling the coach on the weekends when everyone else is partying and going, "Hey, dude, give me the keys to the gym. Like I'm gonna get like 200 shots up today on a Saturday."
Yep.
And like no one had to tell me. I was in the snow, like in the wintertime, I'd still be out there shooting baskets, like in the freezing cold, like. And that's not like braggadocious way. It's just I don't even know why I was doing that. It's always been kind of innate in me. Like it's always
Mhm.
been inside of me. And no one had to tell me to. So very self-driven, self-motivated. And like I said, through that, it's just kind of whatever I do, that is kind of how my brain works, like how I operate back against the wall and just figure it out, like run with it. I've never had a problem taking a jump, like taking a risk, taking a jump.
Same.
Like you have to, like
Same. Yeah.
so many people are scared to take that jump and like they sit in this job they hate for like 10, next thing you know, it's been 10 years. And I'm like, that's insane.
Mediocrity. You're
Yeah.
you're stuck in mediocrity. You didn't take
Yeah.
any risk or chance. What is your advice? And even with me with coaching with people as well that watch me take these huge leaps and these jumps, and then you're working with others, right? Like we both want to work with others. When someone doesn't have that innate in them.
Yeah. Well, that's why I would say invest in like a coach, right?
Mhm.
You always got to be investing in yourself. And if you're not that person, you need to be investing in someone who is like you or me,
Yeah.
or like get around those people, like immerse
Yes,
yourself in it, whether it's reading books or like whatever it is for you. But I always say invest in accountability is everything.
it
Like
is.
in
Yes.
any area, business,
Yes.
relations, like every area it's critical. So if you don't want to be this person, then you got to start doing different things. And that's just how it is. So it's like, you're going to have to take a jump somewhere, whether it be scary financially, whether it be scary physically, mentally, like you got to do something because it's not going to change it. Like, I don't know who said that, but nothing changes. Nothing changes.
I always use the Joe Dispenza quote of, breaking the habit of being yourself, and your personality shapes your reality, right?
Yeah.
And so I always like stick with that, and I love it. And I do think it is an investment. Some people, like when they're like, "Oh, it's going to cost to pay you." You're putting that money somewhere. I
Yeah.
know you're spending it somewhere. Are you investing it in yourself, in your coach, in your therapy? Like you're going to put it somewhere.
Yeah. It's just
So
reallocating money. Like people think
yeah,
it's like so expensive. And I'm like, I guarantee if we break down your financials and like your budget, you could find a way for this. But is it that important to you? It's like,
right.
that's where people are stuck, right? They get,
Yep.
if you don't have it, like it's easy to just get in that repetitive cycle and like be so complacent and comfortable where it's like, I don't need to. I guess I don't need to do anything different. Like I'm okay. Like they almost like talk themselves out of it, right? And that's
Mhm.
what I believe that strong mind comes in. Like I don't let myself, for the most part, like I'm human, right? But like I don't let myself talk myself out of things I don't want to do. Like I start to, this is gonna be crazy, whatever. Like I just shift my brain. Like I start thinking about how it's gonna improve my life, how I'm gonna be a different person on the other side, like what this is gonna bring to my business. Like you got to think differently. And that's tough. It's easier said than done for a lot of people, like you said, because I was kind of just self-driven. But I've never been like, I don't know. It's hard to explain, but that's why I always do the work. Like I'm always
Yeah.
doing work and like challenging myself and getting uncomfortable. Any chance I get uncomfortable, just because I know it's gonna like make me that much stronger mentally.
Thrive off of getting uncomfortable. I have my whole life, it's a feeling that like a lot of people are afraid of, but it's a feeling that like I know something's about to happen in me when I put
Yep.
myself in those type of growth situations. And it's like you said earlier, and that hit home, which is some of the hardest falls are why I'm here. I'm going to keep falling, right?
Yeah.
But like those
Yeah.
falls are what have rebuilt me. And I'm not afraid of them. I'm
Mhm.
not afraid to fucking fall. I have seen the growth that comes from getting back up, right? And that's where
Yeah.
I think the real strength and journey comes from is how you fucking get back up.
Yeah.
As a parent, as a mom, I'm really passionate about mothers and moms finding their identity and their fitness and their strength and not losing that when they become moms. Like that's
Yeah.
what I work towards. As a father, what is it like having your child kind of witness and watch this? Why is that important?
Yeah. Yeah. Well, literally, I was about to touch on that. So I'm glad you did. I mean, that's another reason I do it, right? It's like, first of all, I mean, I could get on a whole different tangent about society right now, and I feel like it's
Same,
just so weak and coddled. And
same.
like, I just never been that guy, so it's hard for me to live in it and see it happen around me like anybody else. But for me, especially sharing custody, like that's shit is crazy when you don't know what's
Hard,
happening half of the time. Like
hard.
I can't leave that to chance and like not be doing my part also, It's different when you have a child full time. Like you can
Yes,
kind of let off the gas a little bit, maybe, like you have him 24/7. But when I'm only getting him half the time, like I'm
yes.
gonna make sure he's
That
seeing
time.
dad, like, yeah, grind, dude. Like this is what we do, So if I have only half control, that is what it is. But like my half counts, like I'm gonna make sure that shit counts. So it's
Luke,
for
you like
me,
give me chills with that
yeah,
one because like as a mom, I always say that like I love you saying that thank you because I have my daughter 50% of the time and that 50% of the time, the minute I get her to the
yeah,
minute I don't have her, she's watching me.
yeah,
It is my little moments in their little development to see what and how I am moving. And so
yeah,
it's huge.
yep. Yeah, and I think of like I didn't grow up with that, right? Like my parents didn't motivate me like that. Um, it was again, it was very like I was self motivated. Like
Mhm.
I'm just lucky to have that. And I don't know where
Same.
that came from. I've always been that way. But so I didn't really need to rely on my parents or like need others. I always knew like no matter what, I'm gonna work my ass off and it's gonna go somewhere. So but again, to your point, like I don't know if my son's Bronson, like I don't know if he's gonna have that as much as I did, right? Like he might need that guiding force. Like he might need to be seeing me do it. So even if he didn't, I'd still be doing it. But it's just leading by example is everything for me. It's like I want him to see we do hard shit. Like in short,
Yes.
life
Yes.
life's tough, dude. How are you gonna separate yourself from everybody else? Like
Yes.
life's gonna beat you down, dude. Get like here's what we're gonna do to change, like to remedy that and to be one step ahead of everybody else. Like mental, it's all about mental. It's just how
I
you
love
react.
that.
It's how you react to life. It's like it's perspective, how you react, and how you see things when they get hard. It's like do we fold or do we get stressed out? Like yeah, we're human. Every once in a while, it's gonna happen. But how long do you allow yourself to sit in that? You know what I mean? That's the biggest thing for me. It's like everyone gets stressed out. Everyone has fear. Everyone gets anxiety. Like, but how long do you allow yourself to sit in it and like be there with it?
Those are the
It's all about
messages our
pulling it.
kids need right now, though.
Yeah.
With the world we're living in, and we focus so much about like, the school stuff, and I'm not opposed to that part of it, but the life lessons are what shape our children. They're what they're watching. I recently went through a really bad, I got my heart broken, right? I had to go to my daughter. I had to face her with like my emotions. It was the first time she's 8 years old that I had to show her that like I was in pain or
Yeah.
that somebody was cruel to me. And it was an opportunity, though. It was a beautiful opportunity.
Yeah.
How's mommy going to get back up? How's mommy feel? Watch me work out. Watch me take care of myself. Watch me be resilient. Like
Yes.
she's watching, not
Yep.
mommy's going to break and mommy's a victim and mommy's, going to curl up in her pain. Like
Yeah.
our children are seeing these things in us and they're watching us. And I also think it's powerful for them to see us be strong. As a woman, I don't want her to see what I saw growing up, which is anorexia and eating disorders. I want her to see a woman that's like eating food,
Yeah.
taking care of herself, strong physically, mentally, spiritually, all of the things. Like
Yes.
this is what shapes our future with our kids.
Right. Yeah. I mean, we're in charge. Like we're creating a little generation. It's like
We are. We are crazy.
and we're
We're
just
like,
hoping there's more people like us that are doing the same thing. So
yeah,
like
we're
by the
raising
time
the
they get older,
future.
yeah. Yeah, I love that about. I mean, I'm glad you have the same mentality because it's refreshing to hear that, especially from a woman's perspective. It's like women should be doing the same thing too. Like
Yes.
this isn't just like get uncomfortable. Like I don't want anybody to take this and go like I'm not gonna run 50 miles. Like don't. I didn't say do that, but I'm saying get
Yeah.
uncomfortable. Like
Yes.
always get uncomfortable and know that that's how you grow. Like period. Comfortable kills. That's why I created the group. Like that. It's
It's
literally
called Comfortable Kills, and that's there in
comfortable.
LA, right? In Los
Yeah,
Angeles.
yeah,
Okay. For
yeah.
everybody to
That's
be
kind
able
of
to go.
yeah. If you're in Orange County, LA, I mean,
Hmm.
anywhere Southern California for the most part. But yeah, that's just like think that's how I live my life. I always think like, even if it's cliche, I'm like it's so true. Like it kills dreams, like it kills aspiration, like it kills motivation, like growth. Number one, it kills growth. It's like you're not going to do anything in a comfort zone,
Nope.
like besides just be there, like
No.
But I don't want to wake up and or not wake up, but just look back at 10 years going, did I do anything in those 10, like what did I do?
Yeah.
I just went back and forth and like
Yeah.
had some cool moments on the weekends with like no, that's
No.
insane. People just like settle and it's crazy. And like I get it again, to each their own, but like that's not who I want to be around and that's not who I want to associate with. People who are just like, I'm good. I'm good. I'm like, I don't know how people operate that way. I really don't.
I don't either. And sometimes people are like, you like they watch my life and they're like, I can't keep up. It's overwhelming. I'm like, that's okay. Like that's
Yeah.
the energy I'm running off of. But like even my clients that come, I say, you're paying for this session. You invested in this session. You're paying me to hold you accountable, right? Because you
Yeah.
cared enough to do that. So you're gonna have to make some changes if your goal is to be this. And I ask them, what do you want to be? I want to be fit. I want to be strong. Well, guess what? What you're doing isn't going to do that. You're going to have to get uncomfortable to get that.
Yeah. And like to your point, I think our style is very similar now that I've talked to you. It's like
Yeah.
there's 1,000 coaches. Like I'm
Yes.
not butthurt if you want to work with me, dude. Like if you don't like that
Same.
tough love mentality, like
Same.
that's fine. Go find someone else.
Same.
I'm okay with it. You know, like
Yes.
honestly, like and same with the podcast. I started off my podcast this episode I just filmed. I'm like, listen, there will be like profanity. It's just gonna happen.
Yep.
Like, this is what I talk about. And guess
Yep.
what? There's a million podcasts I've seen out there now. So everybody's doing it. If you don't like
Yeah.
mine, there's another
Go
one you like. You know,
Luke,
like
I love
honestly.
it. Yes. That's the
But if
same.
I
Like,
but if I
yeah.
can help people, I'm gonna help people. Like, because I know a lot of people need that too. So I'm like, if it's not you, go ahead, kick rocks. Like, I'm cool with it. It's okay.
I'm not here to coddle you. Like, I'm not here. I want sensitivity and I want empathy. I think it's massive, but I also, there is that hard line of like, you asked yourself to do this. So let's fucking go.
Yeah.
You asked me or you to walk you through this, right? Then I'm going to hold
Mhm.
you accountable. But if you come to me and you say I didn't do any of it, I didn't want to, fucking fire me because I don't want to do this. Like,
Right.
I
Yeah.
need you to work.
Right. And there's nothing worse than like someone bringing you down. Like, you're not gonna bring me down. So
Yes.
like, if you paid me and like you don't want to do this shit, like, cool, you just wasted your money. Like, it's not on me.
Yeah.
Like, I'm
Totally.
here to do a job. And I know how to do that. Like, for the most part, one way. Like, I think another part of being a good coach and whatever it is obviously reading people. Like, I've just gotten good
Yes.
at reading people, especially being a trainer. Like, people do need different things,
Yes.
but for the most part, I have one style. Like,
Yeah.
you can't shut that shit off. Like, you're not just gonna become a different person because this person doesn't like how you do things. It's like I
Yeah.
don't. There's no amount of money you can pay me to be like, okay, like I'll back it off. I'll hold your hand. Like, no, I'm sorry, go find someone else
Yeah. No.
because
And
that
like you
changes who
said,
I am. I'm not gonna.
there's so many. It's such a
Yeah,
saturated industry right now. Podcasts,
yeah,
everything that we're doing, we're in this entrepreneur stage, and this is like how people are doing it, and that's fine. Like we're a part of that, right?
yeah,
But the people that are supposed to find you will find you. The people that are supposed to find me will find me. And like you and I are going to keep doing this stuff regardless if the podcasts or the Instagrams are there, right? This is just a lifestyle. So you either
yep,
like join us or you don't. I know you're going to be running out of time here, so I want to end in this very last question, and then please share with everybody where they can follow you on Instagram and follow you through your podcast. But what does
yeah.
the happiest day of your life look like?
For me, I mean, in short, it's time freedom for me. That's why it's like being an entrepreneur is everything. Like having different sources of income and side hustles because it's like creating my own schedule is happiness for me. Like
Same.
it's not about being in like the crazy house or the car.
Nope.
And honestly, I've done that too, and it didn't bring anything. Like it
Nope.
honestly didn't. It's more about time freedom. I can literally pick up and go to the beach right now if I wanted to. I can literally go work out right now if I wanted to. Like I could go pick up my son from school right now if I wanted to. Like I go to every practice, every game. Like
Yeah.
I didn't have shit, Like I don't remember
Yeah.
that at all. Like I'd be like at my
Same.
parents' A game.
I don't
So
think my
it's
parents
like,
ever even said, "Did you do homework?" Like I don't think they
yeah,
even cared. So
yeah. So for me, that's when I'm happiest too. And it's like he it's kind of all he knows, right? Like my son right now, because it's like, oh, dad's around. But like
yeah,
I eventually he's gonna learn like I didn't like I'm giving you the blessing of like being around, dude. Like time freedom's everything. You know what I mean? Like we set our own schedule. Like we don't have a boss. Like I don't fucking work for somebody else. Like I never will. I'm never gonna work for somebody else ever again. Like I don't care. You know, I'm not that type of person. So for me, the happiest days are filled with the ability to do whatever I want and make my own life. Set my own schedule on my own time, not be told when I can take a fucking lunch break. Like I don't know how people live that way. I just don't.
I did my meditation this morning. I'm doing one every day right now on financial stuff and my relationship with money and like what I'm kind of bringing into my life. And in one of the spaces, it's like, what do you visualize? What are your feelings around this relationship with your money? And the first thing that came to me was freedom. It is the freedom to show up to my daughter's school in the middle of the day when she has something. It is the freedom to be and attend and be available and, there for her. I also, in that time that I have my child, it's just me.
Yeah.
I don't want to be missing her life with that minimum time that I already have working for somebody for fucking nothing, right? Like I had to change and shift my life as you. It is freedom. I'm not looking for the most grand life in the world, which I accept it if it's on its way to me.
If it comes,
like
so be it.
I'm receiving of it, right? But I'm looking for the financial freedom. And so much of that is tied around. I love you sharing that. Like showing up for my kid in the way that I didn't have someone show up for me because they weren't in that position. And I think our children will see that one day. And I think so many parents right now are fighting for that.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, and that's another thing, right? Like social media is obviously negative and positive, but like I think that negative side comes out where I'll post these things, time freedom, and like I'll touch on it, and people get so, and this is back to that mental, like people get so in their head, like, well, I can't, well, of course he has this, or of course he can do that because he's, a celebrity. Like they assume that I'm not like grinding every fucking day. Like this is a grind every day. Like that's just what I chose. You know what I mean? Like I didn't choose it to go work for the man. I chose to make my own shit happen. So like I have to put my head down every day. Like there's no off time. Like even when like right now when I have a full clientele, like I'm always doing outreach. I'm always connecting. I'm always putting myself in different situations. Like I'm always doing something. I do not just sit around and say like, oh, we're comfortable in like business. Like that's good. Like it never happens. Like I'm just you have to have that hustler mentality, especially if you do want to like, hey, I kind of want to start doing that too. I want more time freedom. Like just know you have to have that grinder mentality. If you do want time freedom, it's not coming to you. Like you can't just have freedom.
No, you got to make that shit. And like for people like you and I and anyone out there listening, I mean, unless, that's great. Mommy and daddy give you the world to like, start your business. That's wonderful. But
help great.
That's great. But for those of us who have to create it, on our own, it is a mental game and you got to be ready to mentally like put yourself in those uncomfortable positions, like you said, to create the life that you want.
Yeah. And here's the craziest, most baffling thing to me. Like, and I hope that just if people take anything from what I've said today, I hope this stops them in their track if they are on the verge of like, I kind of want to do that. Like I've been thinking about this and just kind of seeing what we've been saying. Mm-hmm. I'm like, you're doing it anyway for somebody else.
Fuck yes.
Like you're doing all the same shit with somebody else for somebody at the time.
Yes. Like you are building someone else's dream. Why the fuck aren't you building your own?
Right. Like, is your job hard? Yeah, I hate my job sometimes. Like, okay, so why don't you hate being an entrepreneur more? Like, go fucking do that. You know what I mean? Go hate being around your kid more and taking a little less pay for the time being. You know what I mean?
So happy that you said that. It is such a reminder. And every time I fall into a weak spot right now, I'm tempted to go back to the job and work for the man and get my insurance. Yeah. It's hard when when times are low, and I keep reminding myself, and like you, I keep telling myself, I will never work for somebody else. I will never work for somebody else. I will never work for somebody else. I will make this work. So like you and I was up, I got it done before 8. We jumped on here. You made time in your busy schedule. I'm about to go work, and then I'm about to coach all night. And this is what we do. And it is a nonstop thing, but we have that freedom. Luke, I'm really grateful for you taking the time. I know you're really busy. Can you share your Instagram and your podcast page for everyone who's watching?
Yeah, Instagram's all lowercase L as in Luke, and then last name Barrow, Barrow fitness, all one word.
And then your podcast?
Podcast is Fit Minds with an S, Fit Minds Podcast, all one word as well. So you'll find it on, if you go to my main page, you can find my podcast listed in my bio right there.
Perfect. Well, I appreciate you. I appreciate your words. They were really inspiring to me. I loved getting to know you a little bit more. And it isn't shocking to me that we have so much in common as we were like drawn to each other and what we're doing through social media. So I'm really grateful. So thank you so much.
Yeah, thanks for having me. Appreciate it,
Yeah.
and looking forward to connecting further.
Yeah, absolutely. Have a great day, hun.
You too. Bye.
Bye.